Kachuma is Santa Barbara's most important water resource, supplying 85% of the city's water. Up next, Channel 18's Nina Sang introduces us to a tiny mollusk that could have huge impacts on our water system.
Meet the quagga mussel. This aquatic mollusk and its cousin, the zebra mussel, are invasive species that are wreaking havoc on aquatic ecosystems in the Midwest, the Southwest, and beyond. Quagga grow to about 1 inch in diameter, but in their larval stage, they are microscopic. And that's how they came to the U.S. in the ballast water of transoceanic ships. Quagga were first introduced to the Great Lakes in 1989. 2 years ago, they were discovered in California.
They grow much faster in California than they do in the Midwest because it's warmer, they have more food, and so they really do take over and multiply extremely quickly.
The mussels are considered, with respect to the environment, they're ecosystem engineers. These mussels are filter feeders, and one mussel can filter 1 liter of water a day. And when you have millions and millions of mussels in a lake, then the water clarity increases. Well, you might think, oh, that's great, clear, pretty water, but not necessarily.
While it's cleaning the water, the quagga is also damaging the food chain. Small fish that depend on plankton have less to feed on, so they get smaller and their numbers dwindle. As a result, bigger fish that eat smaller fish also suffer.
Here's an example. There's a tiny organism, it's a kind of plankton, in some Great Lakes, and they've been reduced in number by 90%.
If quagga mussels were to enter Lake Kachuma, one of the species most likely to suffer would be the endangered steelhead trout that lives downstream. And the quagga mussels do more than disrupt the ecosystem. They are also economically destructive.
The economic effects of quagga mussels are enormous on the East Coast. I mentioned that quagga mussels and zebra mussels were introduced to the East about 1989. Since then, billions and billions and billions of dollars have been spent to control mussels that have been introduced and also to promote prevention programs.
On the East Coast, a massive amount of time and resources have been spent on cleaning screens and valves that transport water from affected lakes to water treatment plants. If quagga mussels were to be introduced to Lake Kachuma, the results would be similar.
It would cost millions of dollars to try to clean it up, unlike a concrete reservoir where you might be able to drain it and chlorinate it and kill them. We can't drain Lake Kachuma. It's a natural lake, and there's no way to be able to get the mussels out of the lake once they occur there.
The reason quagga mussels represent such a great threat is due to their ability to clog pipes. They grow densely on hard and soft surfaces, and they reproduce quickly. In fact, within just 1 square meter, there could be as many as 750,000 of these tiny mussels.
And they can be filtered out at the treatment plants, but on their way, they could impact virtually all of our delivery system, all of the valving, all of the piping, and potentially the Tecolote tunnel. We can't shut down the water at all coming in from the tunnel. And therefore, if that happens and they start constraining the piping and the valves, it could grossly impact our ability to deliver water in future.
Tecolote Tunnel supplies water from Lake Kachuma to the Cater Water Treatment Plant, where our water is treated. But quagga mussels could also affect our output systems, where water is connected to the State Water Project. Quagga mussels are primarily transferred through recreational boating and downstream water flow. If a boater takes in water in their bilge or bait tank from a quagga or zebra-infested area, they will take the contaminated water with them. The next time they unload their bait tank, they will introduce the mussels to the area. The mussels also cause problems in the boats.
If there's a boat sitting in a water that has mussels, within 3 months, the boat hull will be covered with mussels. Not only the hull, but any parts of the boat engine that take in water, the engine can be completely covered with mussels, as well as the interior parts of the engine. So it's a real threat to boaters because it can ruin their cooling system, ruin their engine, interfere with the steering column, create drag on the bottom of their vessel, so it takes more fuel. The boat will go slower.
To prevent quagga mussels from entering Lake Kachuma, the Santa Barbara County Parks Department has implemented a strict protocol approved by the County Board of Supervisors in which all boats and trailers must undergo a vessel inspection before they are permitted to launch.
We've adopted the most stringent protocols out there while balancing the recreation needs of the community as well. So we're very sensitive to the importance and significant issues related to quagga, but we feel as a department we are doing probably one of the best jobs of prevention with our inspection program than any agency out there.
We pull over and we have a ranger come out and do a thorough inspection of your vessel. We want to know where you've been the last 30 days, whether or not you've been in infected lakes. We want to know how your boat's been stored, if you've been stored in humid conditions, that kind of thing. We have a whole inspection form that we use. We want to know whether or not you're from an infected county, a lake that has a county that has infected waters.
The county parks protocol is among the strictest in the state. After the ranger does a thorough visual inspection of the boat, it is sent to be washed with 140-degree water with a high-pressure sprayer. Boaters who have been in quagga or zebra-infested waters must undergo a mandatory 2-week quarantine before they are permitted to launch at Lake Cachuma. Boaters are then asked to sign an affidavit attesting that they have not been in quagga or zebra mussel-infested areas in the last 30 days. The affidavit also ensures that they have no live bait in their possession other than night crawlers or worms that are commercially purchased. When boats arrive at Lake Cachuma, they must be clean, dry, and have their drain plugs out before they are accepted for inspection. Vessels that don't meet these criteria automatically fail inspection and are quarantined for 7 days. If the boat has been in a quagga or zebra-infested area in the previous 30 days, it must undergo a mandatory 14-day quarantine. Once the quarantine period is over, the boat will undergo a second inspection before launching. To make it easier for boaters to re-enter into Lake Cachuma, the county has created a system where boaters can get a Security Boat Launch Tag, or BLT. The BLT ensures that the boat will not be removed from the trailer and will not enter other bodies of water after Cachuma. Having the BLT allows boaters an expedited inspection. The county also has an early detection monitoring program. 14 sampling stations in the marina are monitored for quagga and zebra mussels.
So until we can really make strides with either killing them off or preventing boats to enter the lake that aren't absolutely 100% sure that there aren't any, we really are at high risk with having quaggas enter Lake Cachuma, and it's a very big concern to all of the water agencies.
For more information on quagga mussels or Lake Cachuma's boat launch protocol, please visit sbparks.org.